Hey everyone, welcome back. It is closing in on cocktail hour, starting a little early today as we have some prep work to do. I wanted to make sure that you saw everything that I was in the process of today. Today's cocktail is the Irish coffee. Definitely our first hot cocktail that we have made together. The first time we're not going to need any ice. So that's interesting. We will be brewing some fresh coffee here in a moment, getting things prepped and ready. And we're going to do this as I would in my professional bar, more or less. This is a cocktail that comes from the 1940s, originated in Ireland, who would have guessed, and was originally designed for transcontinental flights. To both relax and keep you awake and ready to do some business when you got either to the States or to Europe in the process. So I think it's a really fun cocktail. It's got some nice historical connotations. The recipe hasn't changed a tremendous amount in a very long time, which is a pretty interesting thing for a cocktail. Kind of similar to a hot version of an espresso martini in a way, of course. Because we're using coffee and a few other things. This is a spectacular after-dinner drink. That's probably when you most likely see it. Can absolutely make it with decaf if you're afraid of the caffeine. Highly recommend that if that's your choice. Let's get into it. We've made a quick trip to my kitchen where my coffee station is set up. I have a drip coffee machine, but any type of coffee you like to do is fine. I'm going to grab a scoop of my fresh beans, get them ground up here, and make some fresh coffee first and foremost. So get those fresh beans grounded in there, and we'll see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Well, the coffee's in its processes here. We're going to go to our whiskey section. We're looking for some Irish whiskey specifically. Can pretty much ignore most any other things. This is almost always done with Irish whiskey. Bourbon would be okay if you don't have any Irish whiskey. But if you do, this is the one to use. Jameson's is our classic here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my bottle of Jameson's. That's what I'm going to use today. You could go with one of their higher end blends, but since we're going to throw a bunch of coffee and other things into it, it's just going to get lost in there. So there's no need to spend the extra money on something like the Caskmates things. If you're not a fan of Jameson's, any other Irish whiskey, something like Kelbigan, could be just fine here. Next, we're going to need some Irish cream. There is no more classic Irish cream, of course, than Bailey's. So again, that's what I'm going to stick with today. You can use any other Irish cream, they'd be fine. You could use one of Bailey's other things if you're not super dairy friendly. The almond actually is pretty tasty stuff and works well here. But I'm going to stick with the classics today because I think that's what's most necessary. Non-alcoholic team today is going to consist of some heavy cream. We're also going to need a little nutmeg for garnish. So first things first. Much like any cold cocktails without ice in them, if we're having a hot cocktail, I have a coffee mug full of boiling hot water. I want this glass to be hot before I put anything into it so that it doesn't cool down my cocktail pretty immediately. The first thing I'm going to do right now is grab my shaker and go with 1.5 ounces of both Jameson and my Bailey's Irish Cream. Right in to my shaker. You could do this in the glass, but I think that it creates a better mixture if it's done in a shaker here. Let's get everything a little bit further combined together. Of course, no ice. And just a quick, once you've got that just well mixed together, nice quick light shake, strain that out. I'm going to take my hot water and dump it out of my mug. And we're going to put the alcohol mixture in the bottom. then going to top that most of the way up with my coffee. Not all the way, but most of the way. It's going to mix in pretty well on its own from here on out. I've got a bowl. I'm going to throw some of my heavy cream in there. In order for a little bit of sweetness and flavor, I'm going to put about a ½ ounce, not quite, of Bailey's in there. That'll help sweeten and give us some flavor on our... And to answer your question, yes, I do this to order at my bar pretty much every time. I don't get a ton of calls for these, but if I do, I will whip the cream to order to make sure that it's nice, well flavored, and has good structure to it, because I think it's one of the most important parts for this particular cocktail. We're just going to whip this until we have some nice whipped cream. So I've got some nice whipped cream at this point. Looks lovely, smells lovely already. I'll grab my spoon. Throw a pretty good amount on top here, enough to cover everything. Do one or two more here. Kind of make sure that it looks nice on top. I'm going to grab my whole clove of nutmeg here and grate a little nutmeg on top. That'll help with the aromatics. Nutmeg and Bailey's go very well together. Nutmeg and cream go very well together. And you have a really nice Irish coffee. Great coffee flavor, especially because we fresh brewed it. Really nice cream on top. That'll help. I absolutely love the addition of the nutmeg on top. It really helps tie everything together. Hope you enjoy. Cheers, everyone.